Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation on Esther. This is the first of how long are we going to be in Esther?
4 or 5.
Yep.
5,
Till Christmas.
Till Christmas?
Till Christmas.
Esther till Christmas.
Nice.
I like Esther.
What's it about?
Esther.
Well, it's about the same thing that's put Scott in that cabinet earlier. He was there
Now you have to explain
for
this.
such a time as this.
So I was talking to some people up front. I was in a
20
conversation.
minutes.
I don't know if it was 20 minutes, but it was a new person that I'd never met before.
You've
Thank
never
you.
met Karis before?
No, not Karis, one of the customers.
Oh, okay.
And we were talking, Karis is a new aunt. And so she was
Yeah.
excited and celebrating that. And then there was another customer and we were just talking about life.
Mhm.
And they were hiding.
I'm listening to this
I'm sorry,
40-minute
you're out.
40-minute
40
conversation
minutes.
inside of a cabinet,
Mm-hmm.
waiting to jump out and scare Rachel.
An
Yeah.
hour later, she came back.
And the
Here's
entire
the thing.
time I've been sitting in this room waiting.
Very patiently, very patiently.
And then they get in here and act like they're in a hurry. I'm like, okay, people,
I waited.
chill out.
Oh,
Chill out. If
out.
I can sit in here and wait for you,
You guys,
you can wait for us to start.
I did wait, and then I said, "Uh-oh, I have to go." So we gotta go. This is what it's like.
Ready podcasting.
Oh my goodness. So, but they were set it up because Rich was holding a box like he needed to put it away, and he had the other door open like he couldn't handle it, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Can you help me?" And which I was a little surprised about because in my head I'm like, usually he just goes.
As I was holding it,
But I was like,
this might throw her off.
I know, but the
He's
fact
growing.
that you
He's
did
asking
help,
for help.
I know. I
Yeah.
was like
Oh.
eternally proud of you, and I was
Growth.
like, of course I will help.
You went from
And
eternally
then-
proud to you jerks.
You
Yes, and I almost dumped a whole latte on Scott, which would have been wonderful.
Would have made waiting worth it.
Oh man.
It would have. I should have
But
done
it
it.
wasn't.
Let's do it again. I
You
can do
had the
this.
same internal reaction as Mitch and I did something stupid once, and my wife's response was, "You two are children."
She's not
Oh,
wrong.
you know what?
She's
One
not
time,
wrong.
Honestly, your wife says that internally to herself about all of us all the time.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
before you were married to your wife, I was driving through Uptown on one of those side streets behind Uptown, and I saw her coming, and she was waiting at a stop sign, and so I, driver's window to driver's window, just pulled up very close to her because we were coming face on, and I just rolled down the window and went ah, and she barely looked. Zero response.
Oh,
It was
that's
just
so
sheer, like if you could boil down a simple syrup of disappointment.
Yes.
Syrup of disappointment.
Oh man.
It was
I
it would be bitter.
I have drank that latte.
I would love to be like that
Uh.
cool and calm and collected that if somebody opened a window and screamed at me, I'd just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But everything in me is like,
But that latte is like the first peppermint latte I gave to a customer where I went, how much are you supposed to put in there of this? Apparently it's like 3 drops, not 3 squeezes.
syringes. Oh my word.
And
Is this a wasabi latte?
to be clear, I deserved all of those. So,
Was that like a checkpoint just in case?
indeed.
The only person other than my mom that listens to these is Anna.
Well, Anna, we wish we were more like you.
Every
And
day.
I have to say, I'm sorry that I did that window moment.
Do you also want to apologize for the egg salad?
Oh,
For
What
making
else
egg
did
salad?
you
Yeah, I like making egg salad.
do? What did you
We're
do?
gonna bring it back.
Anna could not stand the smell of Dijon.
Oh, so he just
So
went
he
for
would
it.
make it, which was very nice. But he would make it next to her like this.
Oh.
It's
Big eyes.
Yeah.
you just take your
Excitement.
your glass of egg salad and you whiff the bouquet.
Oh,
I see the legs on this.
I can see the legs. Oh, I don't want to see the legs on egg salad.
I don't know how to switch from egg salad to Esther.
Well, there was
Start
a
with
big
ease.
Egg salad?
feast.
Oh,
Uncanny
I love
That's
it.
what Xerxes is
180
eating. 180
days.
days of egg salad.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
That's what I
It's
call
half a
Esther.
year.
It is funny
Wow.
that the book starts with this introduction of a king who, throughout the entire book, is kind of a doofus, super powerful. Isn't he painted as kind of just a
He's
drunken,
unkind.
easy to be pushed around.
Yeah, I feel like he's like just doesn't want to take ownership of anything, so he just like lets everybody else tell him what to do.
Yeah. And the best way to appease people when you're that person is throw a half-year party.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't know.
Why not?
half-year party where there was, it says right in there was like, and you know what? It's an open bar the whole time, and the
Not even
buffet.
a cash bar.
Just an open bar,
Oh.
open bar.
And yeah, and the buffet I'm sure was great, and that they lived it up. Who putting on that party is one thing, but attending, you're also a different type of person.
Yeah.
I hope it's
Hungry.
like just come and go.
I know, right? So many rooms.
Dude, it's the moment when you're
the
like,
palace. Oh,
you
you're not allowed
you show
to
up for a
leave?
party and you're like, how late is this gonna go?
180
days.
I
6
don't-
months
yeah.
later.
I don't really love being at other people's houses for like 3 hours.
Yeah, there is a
half a
you
year.
get to 2:45 and it starts to feel a little. How long are we gonna be here?
Although if any state in the country that was going to have a party that lasted too long, it would be Minnesota.
Because
Nobody leaves.
Because we
leaves.
can't. Well, we
Dude,
can't say
tater tots for
goodbye.
days.
Can't leave.
You don't want to. It's uncomfortable to leave. It's uncomfortable to say goodbye. And if you're not the first to leave, then you're going to be the last to leave. And being the last to leave is worse because it's
You're
really
the last
tough.
to leave every time.
Well, it's because I'm trying to be helpful for a few minutes, and then I'm like, all right, let's go. But it's hard to leave.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm sorry.
No,
I'll leave
no,
earlier
no.
next time. I don't want the party
you and I
to
are
last too
we're
long.
competing. 'Cause
Ugh.
I'm the one that always leaves after. I know you're the last person because I'm leaving just after you.
Where are you going? Why do you
First,
I would probably be the last one. Yeah, my wife is more like Greg.
My husband is.
if we have
he
people
would
to our
want leaving,
house,
but-
I will leave before they leave. Like, I'm going to bed.
See you
Good
later.
night.
Bye.
But
It's-
what time
it's
did you go to bed last
6:45.
night? Yeah. What time did you go to bed last night?
Just after 7.
Just after 7. So of course they stay later
The
than
sun
you go
was
to
down
bed.
for an
What
hour.
if a trick or treater came?
Oh,
I turned
man.
off all the lights.
The sun is down, so is Greg.
I know, but I'm just saying if people stay later than he goes to bed,
The
that's
sun
not really.
is gone to sleep.
It's not
That's
that
all.
I have gone to bed before my father-in-law 2 nights in a row now.
Ugh.
Nice.
And no one's at my house now, so I can go to bed whenever I want tonight.
See what I do?
Greg is going
when
home after
somebody,
this.
I was like, if no one's in my
bedtime.
house to put to wake up to, or I'm not like going to bed at 7. I'm going to bed at like 2 in the morning because I can
Zelda.
do whatever I want. No
You
responsibility.
know what I want?
Nothing.
Is to go to bed.
That's oh
It's
man.
literally every single day.
You're
I
like,
look
what
forward to
time
going to
is
sleep.
it?
Wow.
What time is sleep?
Yes, I can't wait. I'm so
Oh, man.
excited.
What is the
I'm
what is,
so
what is the
I've never seen him this excited
Yeah.
about anything.
I
I
love-
am so excited.
I love it. It's the
Oh,
best.
man.
It
I
is-
don't feel that.
It's mine. No one can have it.
You can have it. It is yours. I wish I could sleep on less. I wish I could just go. I don't
It's-
want to. Yeah, that's. Ugh.
No, it's Greg lives on the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy.
He's
Breathing, food, water, shelter, clothing, sleep. That's it.
self-actualization. He's not
That's
even
it.
interested. Not
Breathing,
even
food,
interested.
water, shelter, clothing, sleep.
Okay, so this
So
would be a tough
have
party for us
that
to go be at.
they have the 180-day party for the last week.
And Greg went to bed at 7.
I
And
know.
some of us went to bed at 1. It's fine.
Mhm.
Underneath the cabinet, Greg was sleeping at the party.
Man, I want to
I have fallen asleep at a party multiple times.
But I'm
If there's company seating,
sorry. Would you like
I
to?
fell asleep on stairs one time.
oh yeah.
Hmm.
So the party. The narrative of the story is the king in his inebriation. What's I'm trying to push
You're
forward.
trying
Esther's
so
gonna
hard.
be good.
Yeah. But let's talk about sleep some more.
It's got a new mattress. That's pretty good.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I didn't have to carry it up your stairs.
It came in a box.
Oh man.
I still
It's still heavy.
No,
It was heavy. I did it myself though.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what.
we got up too early. We did cater this morning, so you know we're maybe a little Queen Bastille.
Hurry
So
up,
it'd
guys.
be
Rachel has to leave.
Oh,
Man, Rachel's gotta go.
You have to go. Shut up. Okay. Go ahead,
So-
Scott.
Yeah. Then again, there is a plot twist to the party. Oh my.
We're gonna
Just
laugh
go,
quietly. Just go.
Yeah, plot twist to the party. The King Xerxes calls and wants his wife to come and perform.
I don't know what that means. but-
Exactly.
Just be
Is that the word it uses? Is perform?
I hope not.
Make an appearance.
Make an appearance is
It's
better.
different.
Yeah.
But
Well,
people definitely think that there was. It's really hard for me, but people. Never mind. You guys keep going.
yeah.
People definitely thought that there was
So-
some sort
Yeah.
of look at how
Rachel
pretty she
can't.
is.
Rachel can't keep her laughter in as she's trying to talk about the exploitation.
Yes.
Want to
Queen
bring out his
Vashti.
arm candy?
Yes.
Yeah.
She says no, and the king freaks out.
Yeah.
Says that you're if you say no, you're no longer the queen.
It's also really weird now that you said that, like how, like we talked about the king being pushed around a lot, and like the king, like he wanted to. People, we were talking about him being a doofus, and like
Yeah,
people
Doofus.
pushing him around a lot, and now all of a sudden Vashti says no, and like that's the
it fits
thing,
in though because it's like
Mm.
he gets pushed around because he wants to appease other people,
Right.
And so he's wanting to show off
right?
in front of this
Right.
party. It's going on.
Yeah.
He wants to show off his beautiful wife.
Yep.
Wants to bring her out.
Yeah.
Whatever happens, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's weird.
Yeah,
Whatever
and it
is happening
is
is
so
weird.
part of being a pushover.
Yeah.
Part of even his
The pride.
is that he really wants to appease the people around him.
Yeah.
Wants to be cool. He's so
Yeah.
insecure.
Yeah.
And so he freaks out when his insecurity is exposed, and so after a little bit of there's a little
I want to hear.
How long do you think the fury was? Because they made a point to say later when King Xerxes' fury had subsided. And if 180 days is a party,
what is
he
Yeah.
must have been mad for a long time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And so and I think part of even appeasing and trying to move on from him being a angry, ferocious king was to hey, let's do a pageant. Let's do a grouping
A little
of
beauty
let's
pageant.
find you a new queen. And really, it was pretty plural. Yeah, so this was pretty chaotic. A big part of the Esther story is that it's really imperfect people in a less than
Yeah.
perfect situation, really horrific things happening. And part of the powerful narrative is that God is not ever mentioned once in his word or his action or what he did, what he thought is not mentioned ever in Esther. But we will see that God is placing, empowering, and trusting people in the midst of it, even in the midst of the chaos. And so, anyway, Esther is one of the people or one of the ladies that is brought before the king, and she wins.
To replace the queen.
Replace the queen.
Yep.
And we're not going really far in the narrative. There's the whole story it's a folded text. There's the king in celebration at the beginning. At the end of the book, it's going to be Mordecai in big celebration. It's a folded text. Everything mirrors in it, and so there's intentionality or purpose in that. But we'll get to this point where at the end of chapter 2, there are a couple of people that are plotting to kill the king, and Mordecai, who is Esther's cousin and adopted parent.
Cousin and guardian.
Yeah, because it literally gives like 4 words. Esther's parents died.
Yep.
And it doesn't give the context of that, but it is probably wasn't a great situation, and it is beautiful that a family member would take Esther in and preserve her and her life, and because that wasn't a given it wasn't like as an exile living in a foreign place, probably wasn't a system to help and protect her.
Yeah.
Well, the family member
Was the
taking
system.
care was the system.
Yep.
Yeah.
I read. There's a lot of Jewish writings about Esther, and these are debated, but that she was actually like Jewish nobility. Her bloodline was connected to Saul, and so there was reason for her story to be known and to be shared because of who she was. There.
So Esther is in her platform of now the queen, there's still, as we'll continue on in the story, it's not a place of supreme authority or
Yeah.
casual relationship with the king.
Well, and also, like, I was just like looking at this little section. It was like either she was going to be the queen or she became a concubine. Like, no matter what,
Yeah.
she was pretty much there forever.
Yeah.
Like, this was it.
Yeah, it's we don't have a modern Western
No.
context
No.
to even wrap our heads around what it is to be in a culture like that. I'm
It's
saying
a lot
that
of
with
ownership, yeah.
ignorance, but yeah.
Mhm.
But there's also even like the feelings from everybody's side. You know,
Yeah.
did the king see Esther as a valuable person who he treasured what she thought and
Right.
dreamed? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And also the queen Esther, she lived with a fear. It says as we continue on in the story, turn the page to chapter 3, is that to approach the king
Yeah.
is he could go, what are you doing? I didn't ask for you, you're dead.
Which after, like, he didn't kill it. I mean, the story doesn't say he killed Vashti, but, like,
Yeah.
she was out because she said no. So
Yeah, she's not mentioned again.
She was definitely, I mean, there's something to be afraid of.
Yep. And so at the end of chapter 2, there's it's a brief narrative moment, but it says that there's a group of people that were plotting to kill the king, and which is, part of to build the context of it. Here's a king who's trying to do everything to appease these people.
Yep.
The party, his goal would be everybody likes me. I don't need everybody to like me, but everybody does like me because I have to have them like me. And so there's a plot to kill Mordecai, who's hanging outside of the palace. Hears this plot and reaches out to Esther, and Esther lets the king know. And it's like a clear declaration at the end of chapter 2 is that Mordecai was given the credit for the saving of the king's life.
Mm-hmm.
He did it, and it's written in this book of annals, the book of history, and that book will show up again in the future. But it is kind of funny to me that the king was involved in all of this experience, and when we move on later, he has no recollection of that moment. So again, maybe it points to his consumption or his ignorance, or I just think every time there's a plot to kill me that I find out about, I remember.
Yeah, especially the person that tells you, you might remember them if you see them again. Yeah.
Hey, aren't you the guy that saved my life? Oh yeah.
It happens all the time.
But as we walk into this first portion of text, it's it builds a perspective of being well placed in life, but also where we are, the experience that we're having, even when it's far, far from ideal, and we're not ideal. That God is going to God uses moments. He empowers us and trusts us, and there's opportunity to really to be in the midst of every moment. And Greg, you always explain it really well. This idea of not just God's at work doing something and we're wandering somewhere else in the midst of it, but it's the identification process.
Yeah. I mean, my faith says that God is big and all-encompassing and at work, and my job is to not do something to bring God to earth. I feel like that was a misunderstanding I had of church and stuff. My experience for a long time is it's my job as a pastor or as a church. Is it our job to make God's presence be here? Choose what God's doing in the world. And as I've gotten older and had more experience, I think it's much more no, God's at work, and it's our job to recognize that and figure out how we can participate and join in. So it's not about building a humanly kingdom or empire that contains God, but instead of let the whole world be God's hand at work in the whole world and see where that's happening.
Yeah.
Be really good at calling it out.
Yeah, I think it's a great parable in that, as if you were invited over to somebody's house and you're sitting down and enjoying the meal together at their house they made for you, and then just going, I'm so glad you're here. I hope you feel at home.
Yeah.
I want to welcome you into your home and wants to invite you to participate in what you made, like that would just seem odd of place. And I feel like sometimes in our relationship with God, we go, God, you're welcome here. You can please, I invite you to work in my life. I invite you, and I think God is going, oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. Yeah.
I feel like it's the just like living out life. There's so many moments that we can miss just participating in a conversation or participating with people where God can do work. And I think I keep feeling like where you are, like, I mean, the story talks about this, but like just where you're placed, the people, your neighbors, all of these things are just constant moments for God to be doing work because he calls us to relationship. And so I feel like what you were saying and just the story, it's like just where we're at. How is God using us to love our neighbors well? How is God using us? And that feels like the work God is doing in our lives. And I think like what Esther is going through is much bigger than just that moment. But man, if we can be present and just
It's
say
such
hello and love people
Yeah.
well.
It's such a freeing perspective to to know that it's so much easier for me to have faith in a God who is at work than a God that I have to somehow have control over.
Yeah.
Well, I think, again, on Sunday, I made you guys a page of stickers, but it's this, like, what if you walked around life and you had a cold and all of a sudden you didn't have a cold and you go, whoa, I don't have this cold anymore. And then you see oh, God healed me. Stick oh, I didn't just get better. God healed me. If you would need everything to be labeled, and then you have this moment where you build a theology that says God's involved in this thing, but not in that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is the the mass adopted theology of Christianity.
Yes, exactly. Did God do it? And that's why it's brilliant. It's like Esther is like a calling for maturity because you come from so many Old Testament books. Like I think there's a gross generalization of saying, well, back in the Old Testament when God was really doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Esther is this moment of saying, all right, it's time for the final quiz, the final test. It's cumulative. We're not going to tell you where God is active. Can you figure it out?
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Yeah. And because you go back to the Exodus experience and you just go, where's God involved? And you go, well, there's a fire in front of them.
Yeah.
There's a cloud in front of them.
You ever been on the bottom of a sea?
Dry ground.
Yes. And those are remarkable, but I think that a huge part of spiritual maturity is exactly what we're saying is to your Esther's scenario. There's bad people, and you turn to page chapter 3. Haman is introduced, and he's not great. He immediately goes to destroying not just Mordecai and Esther, but a whole people group, and so in the midst of that, even you go, wow, somebody's trying to eliminate a genocide is being attempted here, and you go, well, I guess God's not here, not involved. We got to get out of this so that God can do something. And the beauty of the narrative is that while it's not there's not an obvious sticker on it, that God is truly at work.
Yeah, and that you being able to call that out is directly correlated to our ability to know who God is, God's personality, and that happens over time. It's it's in like any relationship. Like I can usually point out which latte Kelsey poured because there's just like something different to it, like just ways that she pours, or like stuff like that. Like you can tell.
Well, and I feel like it's like if this was a multiple choice quiz on every page of Esther, is was God aware? Was God involved? Did God was he active? Was he concerned? Like, or all of the above? Or the always? It's like, yeah, God is, even when he's not mentioned, God is. So it's a foundation of theology as we run into the rest of the story.
I'll look back and look forward. At the end of during our last series, near the end, we talked a lot about making every effort and putting work into it. Ephesians mentions that we were created for every good work, and not this week, but in coming weeks, we're going to talk about that oft-quoted phrase, "For such a time as this," and making every effort, all the good works are every time. It's where we're at. It's what we're doing. It's seeing God in the moment and going, "Oh, I'm here to do this every time." And I think that's the same mindset of seeing God at work, where He is at work and being a part of it and being there and being like, "Oh, this is God," is the same mindset to see that we everyday little the smallest, I'm saying smallest of quotes, the smallest of things or the biggest of things are the things that we're set here to do.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's good.
I like Esther's.
Yep. We'll see you next week for part 2 of Esther.
See you.